Deep within a covert military facility, a brilliant scientist named Bruce stands at the precipice of scientific history. He volunteers himself as the first test subject in their search for weaponized super soldiers under the guise of a medical breakthrough. But the experiment goes horribly wrong. A burst of gamma radiation floods his system, and instead of invincibility, it leaves him cursed. Now, when his heart rate spikes, when fear, anger, or adrenaline surge, he transforms into a towering creature of pure rage and destruction. The aftermath is chaos, people injured, surroundings in ruins, and Bruce, horrified by what he's become, vanishes. 5 years pass. We see that Bruce has managed to control himself without any accidents for almost the last half a year in the shadows of Brazil. He watches television, learns a new language, and starts exercising to manage his anger. He patiently approaches even the provocations he encounters in the factory he works in. However, one day, while he is resolving a technical problem at work, a drop of blood from his cut finger drips into one of the bottles produced. Even though he thinks he has prevented it with caution, he prevents one of the other employees from harassing a female coworker after work on the same day. After receiving a shipment that covers a flower he was expecting, he excitedly returns home and tests whether he can prevent gamma poisoning by dripping the extract he took from the flower into his own blood. But he fails. When he tells this to the person he corresponds with online, who is named as Mr. Blue, asks him to send him a sample of his blood. Bruce, discouraged by the repeated unsuccessful attempts, agrees to do this. While trying to find Bruce, General Thunderbolt Ross learns that someone with similar symptoms, caused by a drink, is living in Brazil, and he immediately gathers a team, including the senior soldier Emil, and goes there. The person to whom Bruce sent the blood sample writes that he got a positive response but needs more data, and Bruce says he does not have any. As he falls asleep, he hears his dog getting cranky and noises coming from outside. Soldiers suddenly enter Bruce's house, narrowly missing him, and go after him. Thinking that he has escaped the soldiers after taking shelter in his neighbor's house living downstairs, Bruce is noticed by them as soon as he goes outside and begins to run away. As his heart rate increases at the end of his escape through the narrow streets and shanty towns of the city, he goes to a corner and tries to calm down. However, he is noticed by soldier Emil and is forced to take action again. In the meantime, he meets the general, but he does not have time to make up with him. As if all this weren't enough, he hits the thugs who are causing him trouble at work, and after the brawl he gets into with them, he starts getting chased by them too. Unable to find a place to escape, he takes refuge in the factory where he works, but is cornered by both thugs and soldiers, and after all this provocation, he cannot keep his pulse steady. His eyes turn green. A thug is pulled into the darkness. He is shot out like a bullet. A deep roar is emitted. Another thug is pulled in. The soldiers are scared. The general orders them not to hold back, but the soldiers are content to shoot in fear at the giant green creature that even their bullets cannot penetrate. One of them even uses a bomb, but it is of no use. The green giant's sharp eyes pierce the darkness like a knife. The general goes to inspect Bruce's house with his soldiers, and Emil asks him what they encountered there. The general tells him that the giant creature is Bruce himself. Waking up in his human body in a place far from the city, Bruce hitchhikes and gets into a car. The general and his team return to base, and Emil tells the general that he wants to handle this case personally. Bruce wanders the streets of Mexico, getting himself clothes. The general tells Emil about the super soldier project that Bruce was also involved in, and tells Emil that he needs extra power to fight him, and that he can provide it. Days pass, and Bruce goes to a university to see the woman he loves, Betty Ross, whom he hasn't seen for a long time, but he sees her with another man. He goes to a friend's house to find a place to stay for a few days. Then, in order to transmit the experiment data to Mr. Blue, he enters the laboratory where he used to work, disguised as a pizza delivery man, but cannot find the data he wants. In the evening, he is noticed by Betty, who comes to the cafe run by his friend, whose apartment he is staying in, and he immediately runs away. But before he can get very far, Betty catches him. They go to Betty's house and she gives Bruce the data. He asks for confirmation that the general is unaware of this data because he explains that he wants to remove the thing from his body and make a weapon. We see the general drugging Emil's body to give him the weapon he told him about. As Betty is about to put Bruce on a bus, they realize they are being followed by the general's soldiers. Bruce starts to run, enters a library and escapes from there, but ends up being trapped and a smoke bomb is thrown at his location. The Green Giant returns. All the soldiers empty their bullets on him. He starts to run and protect himself, overturns the heavily armed cars that come towards him, starts to tear them apart, blinded by anger. The general tells Emil to step in. The senior soldier, who has gained agility due to the medicine he took, athletically confronts the Green Giant and directs him towards the Soundwave vehicles. However, the Green Giant destroys these weapons as well. As Betty approaches him, a heavily armed helicopter fires at the Green Giant. He takes the woman in his arms to protect her. He becomes even angrier and knocks down the helicopter with a pile of metal, trying to protect Betty from the explosion again. We see the general at Betty's boyfriend's house. He is the one who told the general where Bruce was, but now he says he doesn't know where they are. The Green Giant takes Betty to a cave. Agitated by the lightning strikes, he shouts angrily at the sky, but Betty calms him down and has him sit next to her. The general visits Emil. Although most of his bones are broken, his heart is beating very fast, which the doctor cannot understand, and he even wakes up. Betty wakes up to find Bruce has returned to his human form. She takes him to the store to get the medication he needs. Then they go to a motel. We see the incident being described in the news and the Green Giant being given the name Hulk. Betty shaves Bruce's head and they begin making love, but Bruce tells her he can't continue as he shouldn't get too excited. The general is called for Emil by a soldier. The man thinks he is dead, but he sees that he is standing tall despite the accident. Bruce and Betty prepare to leave the motel. The general predicts that Bruce will contact Mr. Blue again and says that they will catch them that way. Bruce and Betty find a vehicle and set off. Bruce mentions that he can only remember fragments from the time he transforms into the Hulk. The general is about to do other things to the newly vigorous Emil. Bruce and Betty come across a police stop in traffic and continue on foot, then take a boat to New York City. Deciding that they cannot go by subway due to Bruce's condition, they take a taxi and go to find Mr. Blue. They decide to try a treatment method, even if it is deadly dangerous. Meanwhile, Emil, who has just returned from another treatment, is about to undergo a different transformation. Mr. Blue puts Bruce in his laboratory to treat him with the antidote he prepared. When they start the process, Hulk is about to break his chains due to his excessive anger, but Betty tries to calm him down, and thanks to the treatment, Bruce turns back into his own body. Mr. Blue says that there are other subjects like this and takes them to the other office. He says that they can find solutions to many diseases thanks to the blood samples he took from Bruce, but Bruce states that this is very dangerous. Meanwhile, the general who deciphered Mr. Blue's identity arrives there with his soldiers. They knock Bruce out and take him away in custody. Betty tells her father, the general, that she will never forgive him for what he did to Bruce. Interrogating Mr. Blue, Emil knocks out his teammate and asks Mr. Blue to put the sample he took from Bruce's into his own body, which Mr. Blue warns could reveal an abomination. However, Emil is insistent on his request. As the army takes Bruce and Betty away on a helicopter, Mr. Blue gives Emil what he wants, and the abomination is born. The abomination, which is larger than the Hulk, begins to attack everything. The soldiers on the street where terror is spreading inform the general, and he turns the helicopter back. The soldiers begin shooting at the abomination, but this only makes him angrier. Bruce, who foresees that this terror he has spread will not end easily, asks the general to take him there. The Hulk is their only solution. Despite Betty's attempts to dissuade him, Bruce jumps from the helicopter. The fight between Hulk and Abomination begins. Hulk uses a car as his fists and starts hitting Abomination, but it is not enough. The general, who goes there with his helicopter, rains bullets on Abomination. Abomination, who escapes from them, is caught by Hulk as he jumps towards the helicopter. Hulk tries to pull him down, but he causes the helicopter to crash as well. Both giant creatures are still standing, and they collide again. The Abomination threatens Hulk with Betty. He is stronger than him, but Hulk, fueled by his anger, fights back even harder. Just then, as the helicopter is about to explode, he blows away the flames with the wind he creates with his clap. However, since he is defenseless, He is thrown to the ground by the chain thrown by the abomination. Not satisfied with this, the abomination is about to attack the general and his daughter, but Hulk prevents this by opening a crack in the ground and begins to strangle the abomination with the chain he has taken. They struggle, and just as Hulk is about to kill him, he is stopped by Betty's voice. Then he stomps on the abomination and roars. He throws him in front of the general with his foot. Just as Betty is about to approach him, another helicopter's spotlight is pointed at Hulk, which makes him begin to escape, jumping from building to building. Time passes, and we see Betty looking at Bruce's photo. Settled in a part of Canada, Bruce still tries to control his anger. Meanwhile, while the general is having a drink at a bar, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, comes up to him and says that they are assembling a team, and the story ends here.